Welcome back to FinTech Festival India's Mumbai Micro Experience, everyone. Next up is an innovation talk on creating success stories for FinTech startups, Gain and Apply. This talk is presented by Mr. Atreya Ramdas, co-founder and chief technology officer with Rapider Cloud Solutions Private Limited. Over to you, Atreya. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Amit. Hello, everyone. A very good morning to all of you. It's so heartening to see events are back, and although it's not in person, it is always to see events are happening right now, thanks to the team here who has arranged this. So we have seen a lot of events happening, BFSI events, AI/ML events, which are happening on a continuous basis. Now, that's so good to know. Now, let us look at some stats before I start. There are around 2,500 fintech startups in India right now, and there could be more. I just Googled it a week back. In 2021 itself, as many as 8 fintech startups have made it to Unicorn Club. That shows how much of investment and innovation which is happening in the fintech space in India today. So there'll be different companies in different stages. So let me quickly jump to the slides. So in this particular thing, I'll try to kind of touch upon why financial services, cloud computing is more important. There are, as you know, most of you might have known already that there are 3 simple answers for it. One is the speed with which you can start deploying. The second is the reach that you can have. Second one, the speed at which you can innovate is at a good pace, right? Whenever we are starting something new, it's so easy to have no capex investment, start working on OPEX only, start focusing on your MVP, don't worry about the investments that we have to make as far as the infrastructure is concerned. And given fintech, especially given all the compliances that will be there, it becomes so very imperative that we can go global. So for example, if I have a product that I want to deploy in the US, which should be US compliant, I can go ahead and deploy it in the US region on the public cloud. Unlike the on-prem world, where you will have to procure servers from a vendor who is there in that country. Second one is the reliability and scalability that it brings in. Definitely the amount of scale that a cloud gives, as you grow as a startup to a mid-sized market, as you get more customers, it is very easy to scale the infrastructure as far as the applications are concerned. You need not worry about the infrastructure. You can worry only about your application and make sure that your application is scalable. Ready-to-use services like PaaS and SaaS services, there are so many managed services available on the cloud, which will make your development lifecycle really fast, and it will help cut down a lot of development time, which in turn means you can go to market faster. What are the typical challenges that we see in fintech every now and then? I think most of you might know already some of these. There are going to be economic conditions which goes up and down on a continuous basis. Everybody has access to more and more data which is available on the net, and each data that we are transacting builds the data, and it will help us to give a data-driven decision. This is a boon as well as a bane to the companies today. Complex regulatory compliance landscape. Regulations keep changing as they discover new security threats, new things comes into the play, compliance keeps changing, and the companies have to be on track to address and correct and be compliant with those landscapes on a continuous basis. And last but not the least, market keeps evolving as everybody and every business goes. We will have to keep ourselves up to date on what we can do overall and how we can continue to be the leader in the market that we are in. So given the challenges that we have, what are the major things that a fintech leader's arsenal would be? What he'll be thinking day in, day out? First thing is differentiation. For a company to sustain the business, or that fintech to sustain the business, they have to be always continuously be different from others. There has to be a change that they will have to bring in on a continuous basis. Keep track of all the competition, what is happening, see what is working for them, what is not working for them, and keep correcting those. How can we make use of transformational technologies like data analytics, AI/ML? How can I do better on some of these? So cloud helps on all of these, right? Definitely it will help this deploy some of these technologies faster, take data-driven decisions a lot faster. The second most important thing is risk management, risk and compliance management. So you will have to be up to date with cyber threats. That's where managed cloud will remove a lot of apprehensions, and the way you will have to maintain your data center, it will make our job a lot easier in terms of how we can manage certain things. Only application layer and above is something that we'll have to manage. Apart from that, the remaining things will be taken care by a cloud service provider like an AWS or Azure or GCP. When it comes to risk, another important thing is also to make sure that we are always up to date with our compliance practices. So compliance plays a very important role, both from a regulatory practice and also with respect to some of the continuous things that we'll have to do. So most of the infrastructure related compliance will be taken care by the cloud service provider, which makes our job a lot easier, which should prove that cloud is the way to go as far as fintechs are concerned. Next one is optimize the operation. So once we get into a certain stage of deployment and working, it is important that we continuously see how we can optimize the operations, how can we automate certain things, how to keep the cost in check, keeping in mind also that we will continue to scale as far as the user traffic is concerned. Now, another important thing from operations perspective is whatever we find out from the data layer, how can we build it into action? I'll touch upon that a little later in the talk today. Next one is the very important thing, which is improving customer experience. This is not related to cloud or anything. This is something that all fintech leaders will be there. They will be keeping an eye on where they are losing customers, where the customer is coming and dropping out, so that to make the buying experience of the customer or transactional experience of the customer as smooth as possible. And also try to make use of omni-channel marketing, which is nothing but content-based marketing instead of something that we will do on a continuous basis. Now, all that I have discussed today is that why some of these are required, what are the challenges which are there in the fintech industry, how can cloud solve it for you. Now, where do we start? So to be fair, all companies start small, and when we are starting small, you have to be as less risk taking as possible as far as permanent investments are concerned. That's where cloud helps you. So when we start small, we start building on the MVPs and slowly start getting into a continuous mode of operation. When it comes to us as Rapido, I just want to quote that we have helped a lot of companies, fintech companies, where we have started with them as a small startup to make sure that they are ready to scale, bring their MVP, and also then start moving into the next phases. So I'm going to quote a couple of different stages on how we have helped our fintech customers from the beginning and how they have transformed themselves in different stages. The general approach that we typically take is we know what needs to be done from the customers. We try to understand their approach, where they are currently, which is what the first part is, that is absorb the reality, what they want to do. Then work with them to kind of put the roadmap on where they want to be in a year's time or a 2 years time, and then start working on the action plan. So when it comes to a startup, the main important thing is to kind of create their differentiation in the market. Once they see that their MVP is seeing value, then it is important that they have their development lifecycle in place. Now, that's where DevOps comes into the play. Once you have that particular application which has gone into the market, and you have a technical roadmap on what you have to deliver, and also from business perspective, what are the features that needs to go into the market, it is important that the customer adopts DevOps practices. Why DevOps is important? When it comes to DevOps, it's a development lifecycle and release management practice, which we will have to study, and depending on the customer's agility and the speed at which he wants to go, we will have to ensure that the developers are in the right way to deploy their applications, build their applications, get their features out as soon as possible. Although this is all technically related, but it will impact the business big time. Whenever we are working on new features, it has to be developed in the right way and also in the best quality so that all these can be automated as part of our DevOps implementation. We will have to create CI/CD pipelines, create and test unit test cases so that the faster feedback can go to the developers and they can release the features faster into the market. So once the DevOps pipelines are in place, it will help you to a predictable release cycles where your business teams can plan their sales and post-sales activities, which will definitely have a major impact on the business. So DevOps plays a very important role, especially in the cloud space where everything can be infrastructure as code. You need not write anything. You need not do anything manually. You can keep everything ready as far as your infrastructure is concerned. Right? Once that is done and you reach in the company space, you reach a place where you have quite a few number of customers. I would not suggest the teams to start breaking out into microservices, start from containers from day one. So first you have to ensure that your application is stable, make sure that it is working. Then we can start with scaling that particular application to the next level. As part of scaling comes app modernization. App modernization in recent world is called microservices, containerization, serverless. These are different technologies which are available in the market, which will help you to deploy your applications much faster, to do some of these things on a better scale. What it will do is the same infrastructure can be expanded and scaled in different components depending on the high traffic components versus low traffic components depending on its need without affecting other components in the world in that space of the application. For example, if you have a loan processing application processing can take a bigger load rather than the one which is accepting applications. So in those perspectives, you can individually scale some of these components on its own by using app modernization and DevOps together. So this will help the teams to effectively manage and give a better customer experience as far as scalability is concerned. Now, once this is done, the company grows into certain stage and there comes the compliance and other things that needs to be there depending on the type of business they are in. We have done a lot of customizations for our customers, both in terms of DevOps and app modernization. To name a couple of customers that we have done, we have worked with a very large NBFC called NeoGrowth, where we completely automated their CI/CD pipelines and helped them with their app modernization as well. This made them completely automate their development lifecycle and gave an imperative boost to the go-to-market strategy of theirs. When it comes to app modernization, we have modernized an application completely from a monolithic application to a microservice-based application in Dhani Group, which is a large fintech based out of West. And we have completely modernized their applications, which has provided a significant improvement in their business. Once that is done, next is DR and compliance. So once we do that, we will ensure that the disaster recovery is in place. We will ensure that their compliance needs are in place like PCI, DSS, etc. We will continue to help them to complete RBI audits. So we have done PCI DSS based implementations for more than 6 of our customers, and where they are storing their credit card and other information of PII, etc. Once these are done, it's important that the company starts focusing on their data analytics story. Whatever data that they are going to generate as part of this entire life cycle of the company, it's important to drive data-driven decisions. That's where collating all the data and predicting what kind of data analytics can help us build better business is something that we will do as part of our data analytics practice. For one of the customers in North India, based out of Delhi, we have done a predictive analytics for them, which will tell them who will buy insurance at what point of time, for them. So happy to kind of take you through that. One-on-one, you can reach out to me, which I'll kind of share it. Now, coming to Rapider, what we do as Rapider is we have competency in 3-4 main areas. First one is migration and greenfield implementations. We do consulting for our customers and help them to migrate their applications to cloud. And second one, as I told you, we help them with their DevOps journey. We have worked with them, understand what they want to do in DevOps, help them to move them to cloud, and effectively manage them as part of our managed services practice. And we have a lot of expertise in data analytics and AI/ML as well. So that is something that we will do for our customers on a continuous basis so that they can bring the predictive model on our side. We are well-architected reviews, and we are partners to both AWS and Azure OEMs at this point from public cloud perspective. Great talking to you guys. If you have any questions or if you want to have any chat with me, please feel free to drop in an email. You can reach out to us at aws@rapider.com, or you can find me in LinkedIn. You just type Athreya Ramdas and Rapider, you'll be able to find me. Thanks a lot. Have a great day, guys.
Thanks. Thank you. Thanks a lot for that wonderful presentation, Athreya. It is time for us to now move on to our next session, which is a dialogue for the day. And do not go anywhere. We will be right back. Thank you.
Where there is life, there is hope, there is meaning. But life has its downs as much as its ups. Life is about challenges. Life is about opportunities. Time for joy, time for celebration, and time to introspect. Thankfully, in every one of life's moments, and even beyond life itself, there's LIC. Where there is life, there's always LIC. Zindagi ke saath bhi, zindagi ke baad bhi.
100 रुपये में बिटकॉइन ट्रेडिंग
पॉसिबल है,
इम्पॉसिबल।
लगी शर्त और हारा तो It's possible on CoinSwitch Kuber. Download करो और Bitcoin में trading start. CoinSwitch Kuber, सिक्का चमकेगा.
Cryptocurrency is a non-regulated digital asset, not a legal tender and subject to market risks and price fluctuation risks.